Hi everyone. I hope everyone's staying well and healthy and safe these days. Just wanted to try and get you another video up pretty quickly here. This is one that it's a good one to do if you don't want to have to worry about doing a whole lot of wispy area on it, because most of your paper is covered. I did this on 11 by 14 Yupo. The medium weight Yupo is what I used on this one. And I used 5 different colors out of the Tim Holtz Ranger line. I used wild plum, amethyst, boysenberry, which is one of the newer colors, stream, and indigo on this. Now, one of the things that I wish I had done a little different on this one is not made my sections quite so big. I got a little over ambitious there at the start. It had been a while since I worked on an 11 by 14. I had gotten used to doing the 9 by 12s and 12 by 12s, and so seeing this, sort of long looking paper in front of me, I was thinking, oh wow, I better put some big areas of ink down. And then it was kind of like, oh no, whoops, that's not working quite the way I wanted it to, but I pulled it out in the end. But like I said, this is one that's good for you all that don't want to have to do a lot of wispy in your paintings. The last one that I posted, the one on the Nara round, the 8-inch Nara round, that had just I'd only used the eggplant and the Pinata brass on it. That one, that has a whole lot of wisping out of your ink on that. But this one is more just blending techniques than wisping. You do have to soften those edges at the top if you want to leave some negative space. Well, you don't have to, but I did. I softened the edges at the top where I left my negative space, just because I think it looks cool, so that's what I do. And if you don't want to do the wisping at all, you can do this technique and cover the entire paper, which I actually have done as well, and looks beautiful too. Especially if I'm going to make coasters or be cutting something out of it to use for something else. I will usually just go ahead and cover the entire paper, and this is what I do when there I go with the hand patting again. I wasn't frustrated yet here. I just was trying to decide which color I wanted and where I wanted it to go. So, mercy, my mind wandered off. My poor little brain just jumps from thought to thought, and I have a terrible time getting them out of my mouth before my brain has already moved on to the next thing, or 3 or 4 things into the future. But the coasters and papers and things, that the paintings that I'm going to cut out for a different shape to glue on to some sort of wood panel that's not the same size or the same shape as my paper, I'll use this technique, I guess you call it. I don't know, this style of painting to cover the entire surface, and then I've got that whole area to work with. And like I showed you on the other video, if you're cutting one out of it, take whatever scraps you have left, and if they're the right sizes or big enough to get some out of, you can cut out circles or squares for coasters if you've got the wooden rounds, or make bookmarks if it's a heavyweight enough Yupo. Now, I generally use the heavyweight Yupo if I'm going to do bookmarks, just because it's a little sturdier, since there's nothing behind it to sturdy it up. Magnets is another thing you can make with your little small bits of leftovers. Alright, so I also used Pinata brass on this one. I think I forgot to tell you. And I used 99% isopropyl alcohol. Yeah, I was making a mess. You'll probably see me do that a couple of times. My Yupo kept sticking to the... I have a sheet of... I don't know what it is. I don't know, some large size of photo paper anyway, down on my little puppy pad that I'm using to catch the ink. But I've got like the shiny side up on this photo paper so that the ink will sort of soak into it really quickly and not move around as much. But every now and then I get so much off of the paper that it just sort of makes a big mess, and then my Yupo or the whatever art paper I'm working with will stick to the photo paper, and I can't pick it up easily or slide it to move it where I want it to go. All right, so because I knew that I was going to go over top of this whole thing with just Pinata brass. I've mentioned this to you all before, I think, that there are times when if I'm doing a painting and I can't get it to blend right. It seems like everything's staying chunky. So I left this one chunky on purpose because I knew this is what I was going to do. But there's times when, I mean, really, it's like I can't get things to blend right. It either looks chunky or I'm afraid if I keep on blending it, I'm going to end up with some just, hideous color just looking awful in there. So what I have started doing when I have a case like that is finish the painting, get all the color where I want the color, and I do still put a little bit of the brass in. You'll see I do it just like I always do. I put down a drop or two of brass in there with my ink when I'm, while I'm actually putting down the ink colors. But then when I get finished laying down all these colors, I will go back over the top of it with just the Pinata brass and alcohol. I'll put down 3 or 4 drops of the brass and then put down a healthy serving of alcohol. I don't know how to tell you how much, but more than I would use when I'm putting down just the ink, because I want to cover a large section with it, because I'm using the brass and the alcohol to blend the colors. But I'm also adding this, a lot of the gold sheen over top of the colors as well, which will really just catch the light beautifully, especially with these darker colors. It just, it looks, it looks really good when that light hits it. It looks gorgeous. And it's kind of funny if you notice at the beginning of this video, the difference in even how light and dark the ink looks depending on how much of the brass you can see in it. It's almost like this one, I didn't tilt it quite enough to make it just glaringly obvious like I have in some before, to where you could really see a huge difference, but you can still see a difference. It's almost like looking at 2 different paintings that are painted the exact same way. And both of those pictures were taken in the exact same lighting conditions. The only thing that I did was tilt the painting, the board that I had it on, just a little bit so that the gold would catch the light, or the brass would catch the light a little bit better, just so you could see how much shimmer and shine was in it. So all I did, and I did a terrible job on it with this one, but was just, sort of interspersing colors here and there. And I don't know how I ended up with these big long lines. It was one of those things that I wasn't noticing enough when I was painting, and I got done and looked at it and went, yes, yeah, could have done a little better on a couple of those sections, but it's still really pretty. And this is, these colors together, I absolutely love. This is one of my favorite color combinations. Just love it. And the boysenberry is a beautiful color, by the way. If you have not tried any of that yet, it is that, the purple that you see right by my hand, or that my hand was just over, that right there, down at the very bottom, that is the boysenberry color. And it's beautiful. I love that color. So If you're looking for another shade of purple in the Ranger line, that's a really good one to pick up if you don't have that yet. It's just it's similar to the Purple Twilight, but it's just maybe a touch pinker than the Purple Twilight is, I think. So, but it's a really pretty color, and it, blends really well with all of the blues and aquas and turquoise and things like that. Those shades that I've tried it with so far, it does a great job blending with those, coming out with some really pretty darker purples if you blend them. So yeah, you can see I don't do any wisping on this at all until I get all of my ink down sort of where I want it. And then I'll go back and start, worrying about softening up the edge at the negative space that I left at the top. Or, well, I guess the angle that you're seeing it from now, it's the bottom. But it's, what becomes the top is where the negative space is. I was trying to think if there was any other questions I've had recently that I didn't answer on my last video. I wish you all would let me know if you would like me to do another video that is similar to the one that I did where it was just frequently asked questions. I did not actually do a painting. I just showed you a little bit of what can happen, like if you're using a hair dryer, or even if you're brave enough to use a heat gun, which I'm not because I'd melt my Yupo. I could have an interesting 3D sort of painting going there. But so that you can actually see what I'm doing when I make it mess things up. So when you get those fingers or the spider legs going everywhere, when you get that, you can kind of see what's causing it. I can show you, I showed you on that video what can cause it, but I'll be happy to do another one if anyone would like me to do one that, again, that one I did a little while back. I mean, I do have a little more experience now. I need to go back and watch that video because there may be some things that I did not cover in that video that I've learned since then, or things that I forgot, or I'm sure that there's more things that I could discuss in one video. But just let me know in the comments, because I'll be happy to do that. And I know I've got a lot of new subscribers, since I did that video. So if you haven't watched that one, definitely watch it. I hate that I can't remember the number of it. I think it's 19, but I'm not sure. So that if you're having any kind of issues with using, particularly with using this hairdryer, because it does have kind of a high airflow on the cool setting, but you absolutely can get used to it. I mean, I got this hairdryer within a month, I guess, of when I started trying to do the alcohol inks. We were, at the time, we were traveling with my husband for work when I started doing this. So we were actually sort of living in a hotel at the time when I started learning to do this. So I was just using the hotel hairdryer that they had in there because it didn't blow very hard. But unfortunately, it did not have a cool setting on it. And it was one of the ones that had a handle. So I didn't, that was killing my hand trying to hold on to that thing, which is how I ended up with this. Just, went online and found one that was the shape that I wanted, that had a cool setting, that had poor reviews. So there you go. If you want something that works good for alcohol inks, look for something that's got bad reviews. I wanted something that didn't have a super high airflow. And this one's only 500 watts, so it's not nearly as powerful as some. But it still is, it still does have a little bit higher airflow than what might be ideal for this. But it is 100% learnable. As you can see, every video that I have made on YouTube so far has been with using this hairdryer. So it's, you know, it's definitely possible to get the wispy results with it. It's just a matter of knowing where to hold it. And I mention this, or I try to mention it in most of my videos anyway. Stay off to the sides of your ink and alcohol puddle. Don't come in right over top of it so that you don't have that air. I mean, you know, think about what happens if you have a puddle of water and you go outside and, you know, just smack your hand down into it. The water's going to go everywhere. Well, it's the exact same principle with this air. You've got your puddle of ink and alcohol, and that air is just going to shoot straight down into it. Just like if you smacked something, the air is going to hit it, and it's just going to blow it outwards. Excuse me. So, you know, don't put your dryer right over top unless your ink is almost entirely kind of set already, and you just need to finish drying up just a couple of little tiny spots. And even then you got to watch, because sometimes those little tiny spots will run with you if you get it too close to it, or you know, come in from a side that's wet enough to still really move good. Okay, so oh gosh, y'all, I'm so sorry. Oh, keep your dryer close to the paper, too. Sorry, that's what I was trying to remember. You know, same principle applies. Don't hold it up high. Even if you're not directly over your ink, holding your hairdryer up too high will still cause you to have the, you know, the ink. It'll be much harder to control. So, and you can still get those little fingers of ink running where you don't particularly want it to. All right, so you see I decided to go ahead and do my softening up of my edges here before I went over it with the brass. It's just easier to do, you know, going ahead and going over those, trying to soften those edges up a little bit. Plus, it was helping give me an idea of how far out I was going to come with my, with how far out the inks were going to come once I had the edges pulled out and softened, and trying to decide how much negative space I wanted to leave. So I also did a little bit of blending here. Not a whole lot, but just a little bit in between the colors to kind of soften those edges between the colors. Just to, it's just a way of helping it when I go back and put the alcohol and ink, the brass and the alcohol down. If the edges are of the colors where they meet are blended a little bit, it's just going to make it even softer looking. So that's, you know, if you want to have a really soft, well blended, sort of nebula looking paper or painting, then you need to make sure, excuse me, oh, I'm so sorry. One of these days, I might actually get to work on one of these videos during the daytime. Seems like it's always nighttime or early morning, like right after midnight or something, when I'm finally getting to have a chance to work on a painting. So, yeah, we had family movie night tonight, so I had to wait. There's no electronics allowed during family movie night, so anybody who was waiting for responses from me on occasion, if it takes a long time to get one, there's one reason why. We do have periods where there's just you know, no electronics. Gotta put them down. Time for actual human interaction every now and then. So still just doing some blending on this. Some of them I'm more careful about blending as I go. This one I wasn't quite as careful about blending as I went, which is one reason I did end up having to go back and do just a little bit more blending before I put down the brass too. I think one of the things that I was gonna, no, I don't even know if I said it or not. I'm sorry, y'all are gonna think I'm loopy. I swear I have not been drinking that Everclear that I did that one video with. Shoo-wee. If I drink that, somebody can haul me off to the, I don't know, the nursing home, to the Alzheimer's wing or something, because I've totally forgotten who I am if I'm drinking that. If you're going to do this to cover the whole paper, just in case I did not hit this just a few minutes ago, you want to make your section smaller, most likely. If you're going to be cutting it out for something smaller like coasters, 3 to 4 inch circles, if you don't make your sections of color a little bit smaller than I did in this one, then you're going to have a very hard time getting a circle or a square or whatever to cut out that's got multiple colors blended on it. You will end up with, I'm just going to go with coaster because that's what's on my mind here. If you're going to end up with coasters that are just one color. And so if you're trying to make a set that has these colors in it, it's just not going to look as good if you have, one coaster that has purple and pink, another coaster that has blue and pink, or whatever, the stream, the kind of turquoise-ish color, and pink, and then another one that's only, a turquoise color, or only a different pink shade than the one that was in the first coaster. It's just, it'll look better if you can do small sections. And that's, if that's something that you all would like to see, I'll be glad to do one of those too. Y'all just have to let me know, what types of paintings you would like to see me do. I do a lot of paintings that never make it to YouTube. And so, it's certainly, no problem for me to videotape certain types of paintings that I'm doing if I know that it's something that, several of you have been wanting to see more of. I was trying to look around here. I don't even know. I think I've got somewhere around 12, 13 paintings, something like that, taped to boards right now that are that I've done over the last, I don't know, few weeks, something like that. But some of them are the ones that are just solid to use for cutting out. I've got some I showed you in the video with the coasters where I had some different shaped wooden panels. Gosh, oh, sorry. I'm apparently going to yawn my way through this video. I'm so sorry, y'all. I promise. Okay, I make a solemn vow right now. The next voiceover that I do, it's going to be during the daytime, so maybe my brain will be working, and maybe I won't be yawning my way through the video. It's making my nose stop up yawning so much. Getting a stuffy, runny nose from it. Alright, so this is terrible. I'm actually trying to figure out what I was doing here. Alright, I think this is where I started down here doing just the brass and the alcohol. I started trying to blend that corner down there just a little bit. But you'll notice I had not finished with my wisping out the edges there at the top. But that's something that I went back and did before I put the brass that far up. I didn't want to end up with just brass up there. So I usually, anytime I'm doing one like this, I try to go ahead and do those wispies. And then sort of wash the brass up, at least close to it. Sometimes over, but usually just kind of close to where the wispies are. Because I don't want to completely drown them out. I don't want the brass sitting too much on the lighter sections of the surface, if you get what I'm saying there, because you know, if you've worked with a pastel color with the brass, you know that it can make your surface look dirty, whatever substrate you're painting on. It's you know, it just kind of, if you're looking at it one way, it's beautiful and shimmery and shiny, but if it's from a different angle, it just kind of looks like there's some kind of odd looking dirt or sand stuck to your paper. So I was trying not to get too much. I didn't want too much of that brass coming out there. See, I had gone back there and decided to work on that a little bit more before I got up that far with the brass. But can you see the difference in the corner down where my hand is holding the paper in the corner down there? The difference in the way the blending looks just after going over it just that little bit with just the Pinata brass and the 99% isopropyl. It really just made a big difference, and how soft those colors look together. Oh, sorry, excuse me, y'all. I promise it's not coronavirus. It's just allergies and a cold or something. I love springtime, and I'm so happy to see the flowers. And I am so not happy to have to start taking Zyrtec every day. Alright, so let's see. Yep, still just coming back in with the alcohol right now to soften up those edges before I finish spreading it out with or putting the brass over to blend the colors. I have decided when I get to 5,000 subscribers, because my subscriber count is just flying up, I'm just thrilled. I'm blown away, amazed. I promise I won't break down cry tonight, y'all. The ones of y'all that saw my video where I actually did that, I promise I won't do that tonight. But I am. I'm just blown away. I'm amazed, and I can't tell y'all how much I appreciate you and your support with watching the videos, and you know, watching this subscriber count that has surpassed anything that was ever in my wildest dreams when I first started this channel. You know, it just was not anything I ever expected for these videos of mine to take off the way that they did. So, and those of you who have been with me from the very beginning, Lord love you. I don't know how you've had the patience, but I love you all. I appreciate it so much. Y'all are great. And those of you from the beginning, especially, when I first started this, had it not been for you all and the support that you gave me and these wonderful comments and telling me just how much you were learning and how much you enjoyed watching me paint and listening to my backwoods North Carolina accent that I have. You know, had it not been for all of that, I would not have stuck with it this long. I was just not confident enough in myself, and I'm still not. I'm just not one of those people who has a great deal of confidence in my own work, you know. So, yeah, I mean, everybody's comments that are so great are really what keep me going. They really are. Knowing that these videos are helping you all, just, it gives me the most incredible feeling. I just love knowing that my videos are helping you learn something. And that's one reason I don't mind trying to answer any questions that you have when you have problems or get stuck with something, or, you know, I don't mind it, because I love knowing that you all are being getting to the point where you can create something that you are so proud of, that just, that you never thought you would ever be able to make. Because I certainly didn't think I would ever be able to make anything even approaching nice looking when I first started and saw my blobs of ink on the paper. So, but yes, to those of you all who've been with me from the beginning, I love you all. To those of you all who have joined me yesterday, I love you too. I really do. I appreciate it. It's fun to watch this little family here grow. So, but yeah, I will, when I get to 5,000 subscribers, I will do another giveaway. I haven't done one in quite a while, and I had thought about doing one a little bit quicker than that, but every time I would settle on a number and think, all right, next time I do a video, I'm going to say, when I get to this number, I'm going to do a giveaway, I would be past that number before I got the next video posted. So I'm just going to pick 5,000 because that seems like a good, nice round number, and at the moment seems like almost an impossible dream even to get there, because we're still a ways off, but the things are going up very quickly. I looked yesterday, and darn if I can remember, but I think it was something like just in the last month I have gained about 600 new subscribers, I think, in the last month. It just took off like crazy. And a lot of it, I'm sure, is a lot of you all are bored sitting at home because you can't go to work right now because of the coronavirus, or you've got kids at home, from school that you're having to be home to take care of or something. But yeah, my subscriber count has just gone nuts. So I don't think it's going to take all that long if it keeps on going the way it has. So we'll see. And I will, as it gets closer, I will let y'all know, what the, how to enter if you want to enter. But that'll be a little ways down the road, and I will let y'all know. I just wanted to give you a heads up that there will be one coming up, and I am not going to post it I'm not going to do like I did before and do just a separate video saying I'm doing a giveaway, because I want this to be for you all, those of you that actually watch my videos, not just somebody who's going to see that and come in and subscribe hoping they can get something for free, and then unsubscribe and never watch another video. I want this to be for my supporters, for those of you all who are there for me and who are, really enjoying and appreciating the work that I put into doing the videos for you all. I really, really appreciate you guys. So this is, it'll just be a definite way to say thank you for that. So the only times that it will be mentioned is in a video of me on a tutorial. It's not going to be posted anywhere to please come enter the giveaway. So I'll keep mentioning it as we get closer, and kind of keep you filled in on what the subscriber counts are, so you'll know when it's going to be coming up soon. And I'll make sure that it's mentioned on at least a couple of videos once it's time to enter, so that so that you all will have time to, if you miss one, then at least hopefully you can catch it on the next one. So that is my plan anyway. I just wanted to make it something for you all. This is not something to try to get my subscriber count higher. That's not my goal. It's just something fun for me to watch the subscribers go up. My goal is to help you all be better with your painting. That's my 100% goal from day one, the first video that I posted on this channel. So I wanted this to to be for you all. Alright, I was getting fairly close to done there, but so you can kind of see what I was talking about. I'd put down 3 or 4 drops of the brass, and then, you know, like I said, a kind of a healthy squirt of alcohol. And see there, I actually came back in with a little more. The brass had stuck to the paper right there, and I didn't want that kind of just line of brass that had left out there. I wanted to blow that back in towards the ink just a little bit. So just as a reminder, you know, like I said before, let me know what types of paintings that you would like to see me do a video on. If it's one that I've already done something similar, just let me know the video number, and that way I'll know, you know, exactly which style it is that you might want to see one on at some time in the near future. Because I am going to try for a little while. I'm going to try to get videos posted a little more often than I have been. Just so those of you who are sort of homebound right now will have a little something to entertain you while you're stuck at home and can't go out and do anything. Alright, well, it is just about to come to the end here, so once again, let me say thank you. Thank you for joining me for this one, and thanks for joining me for every one of them that you have. I hope you all have a great day, and hope I see you back here again soon. If you haven't subscribed, you know, hit subscribe, give it a thumbs up if you like what you see, and I'll keep on doing more of them as long as you all want me to keep on making them. I will be back with y'all very shortly. Or not shortly, but soon. In a day or two. Love you all. Bye.